Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I thought I would come on and show my face today because this video is super special. This is part of a marathon molds and shapes collaboration with multiple artists, all using a brand new range of molds and shapes molds, which are launching as we speak. Oh, it's so exciting. I'm going to list everyone who's taking part in this collaboration. I'm going to list them down below in the description box. I cannot wait to see what they've made. I've made something very different, very different for me. But thank you so much to Molds and Shapes. Again, this is a video collaboration, but it's also a marathon collaboration. So prior to my video, there was a video, and then after my video, all the times and everything like that is going to be down below. There's going to be hopefully 7 or 8 videos for you to watch, all launching these brand new molds from Molds and Shapes, and guaranteed every single video is going to be different, which is amazing, right? Because we've got 7 artists, 8 artists. I never know whether to include me or 7, 8, 8, 7. Anyway, all of us are going to be completely different, having our own unique ideas on how to use these brand new molds from Molds and Shapes. And that is all. I'm so excited. I hope you love my video, and when you do watch my video, please do hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. It is free. It's totally free, and I'll refund you if I'm kidding, I won't. There's no refunds. But yes, all the details will be in the description box below. What else was there? Once you've watched my video, please head on over, click the links in the description box of my video and check out everyone else's creations using these brand new molds from Molds and Shapes. That's enough. Let's go. This is the stunning new Druzy mold from Molds and Shapes, launching as we speak. It's a long oval Druzy edged mold. It will be directly linked below alongside your discount code. Now, I had so many ideas running through my head. My initial thought was to do a transparent resin around the edge to get the most out of that crystal cut Druzy. But honestly, I wanted to do something completely different. I ordered these from Shein. Now, these are mini eggs, of course, obviously, but they're very, very similar to a certain chocolate mini egg that we all know and love. It's going to be an extravaganza of a tray. Did you see what I did there? Now, first up, I want a thin layer around that Druzy edge. Now, I already knew yellow was calling to me. I very rarely use a lot of yellow in my videos, but I figured, hey, let's go bright. You know, go bright or go home. This is a yellow paste. Now, I don't know where you would find this paste now, but I would definitely check out Create and Bloom. This is an old paste from Resin 8. I haven't opened this bottle in probably 5 years, so I had to give it a really good stir before actually using any of it. And it's very, very bright. It's giving lemon curd bright. Now, after I mixed it in and made sure that every element of that resin was coated in that pigment, I did decide to mute it down a bit. I wanted it more of a, I want to say lemon, but lemons are also quite yellow and bright. I just added some white liquid pigment just to mute it down. I just felt like it was a bit like, whoa, calm down. That's a bit in my face bright. You know what I mean, guys? I just wanted a softer, that's the word, softer yellow. So I added in some of the white. The resin I'm using in today's video is the Apex from Just For You Online. Of course, that will also be linked down below. I added a bit more white. I just kept feeling like I'll know when I'm happy. And as soon as I was happy, then we were good to go and we could pour it around this Druzy edge. The plan of action is we're going to pour a thin layer all around this Druzy edge until it reaches the flat area of the tray, and we're going to allow this to cure overnight, and then we're going to follow up the next day with a super thin layer of resin, clear resin, in which to put our eggs. So right now I am going very, very slowly around this beautiful Druzy edge, allowing the resin, I guess, to flow by itself. If you pour too quickly on a mold like this, it's so intricate, so detailed. If you fly around and pour it really, really quickly, there's a chance that air pockets will get trapped. So pouring slowly allows the resin to work its way into all of those nooks and crannies and divots and all of the things. And then as soon as I'd filled it just to the edge of the flat bed of the mold, I didn't pour any more. That was it. I now need to step away for 24 hours and come back when this druzy edge is fully cured. And then tomorrow we're going to pour a thin layer of resin for the eggs. Okay, this is the next day. The plan of action for the eggs was, now there's two options. You can either cut the eggs in half now, or do what I'm doing, which for me was so much easier, and just lay the eggs down. The reason I didn't cut them in half is that I didn't want them to kind of like go wonky and skew whiffy. Some of the eggs might be a little bit top heavy, might lean a bit to the left, lean a bit to the right, and then you'd see polystyrene in the finished product. I didn't want that. So for me at the time, the best path I could take would be to just lay the eggs straight down in the resin. And that is why the layer of resin I've poured is literally like 2 millimeter deep. It's really not much resin at all. I don't want the eggs to float. Equally, I just want them to be captured. I want them to be captured as they are, where they are. And yeah, we'll deal with having to cut them another time. A problem for future Claire at this point. Now I started off wanting gaps in between the eggs, but of course resin will always travel to the center of the mold, and I could already see my eggs were floating. You can see they all started moving, and anyone who's used epoxy resin knows that resin will navigate to the center of a mold. If you've never been here before, then just know that whatever you put in your resin will travel. So I ended up using the entire bag. Like I started off wanting gaps in between the eggs, and it got to the point where it was like, do you know what? Go big or go home. Chuck every single egg in. Chuck it all in. The whole entire bag went in here, guys. All I'm doing here is you're seeing me place them individually in. It's just to make sure that I haven't got like 5 purple eggs next to each other or 3 greens next to each other. I still wanted them to be random, random colours next to each other. I didn't want them all to be the same colour next to each other. So whilst I threw the whole bag in, I did meticulously take my time and place each and every one of those eggs where I felt that they're not necessarily next to a cluster of the same colour. So the whole entire bag was gone. And by doing it this way, I just felt that nothing is going to move now. Nothing can move. The resin is still trying to fight its way to the centre of the mould. And that in itself is keeping all of my eggs in a row, all of my ducks in a row. Stop it now. Okay, the last couple of eggs were going in, and really my aim at this point was just to cover that blue area. Other than that, I was happy. I made sure that they were all sitting nice and tightly, and really this part here was unnecessary. It's just I had a little bit of resin left in the cup and I didn't want to waste it, so I'm simply drizzling on that last little bit of resin just to give them a helping hand to fully set and cure overnight. Now again, like I said, you could cut them in half first, but there is a risk that if you do that, they will be lopsided. You will end up seeing polystyrene in the finished product. So for me, it was easier to have them fully set in place. And as you can see, the next day they're fully stuck. However, I do want that thin layer of clear epoxy resin to be slightly higher, because what I don't want is for just a little bit of the egg to be seen. I want half of the egg to be seen, and if I leave it right now and pour yellow, then we're only going to see tiny little bits of the eggs. I'm hoping I'm making sense here. I wanted the resin to come up as far as the cut that I'm making. So again, this might look fiddly, but it felt easier for me to do it this way, just protecting your silicone mold at all times. You can see I've got the ruler there just to make sure that that super sharp blade does not go in. The only downside to this was I didn't injure myself at all, but I felt the blade was digging into my finger, so I did have to grab some tissue just to take the sharpness away from my fingers at this point. But yes, just carving off the tops of the eggs. Now the reason I'm doing this is because the eggs are too big for the mold, right? They're all protruding out the top, and I want to make sure that I'm cutting all of these eggs down to the point where they're not seen at all. If we turn the mold on its side, we can't see a single egg protruding out, and that was really the goal here, the aim here. So again, how you do this is entirely up to you. I chose to do it this way because this is the way I wanted to do it, and this was the way it just worked better for me and easier for me. But yeah, let me know what let me know your thoughts. Again, like I said, it looks fiddly, but it was so easy. The blade went through these polystyrene eggs like a dream, and you can just see here I was shoring it up to see like how much more I have to take off. It's giving Giant's Causeway at this point, but I don't know. Yeah, and as soon as I kind of like kept going and I kept going, I was really happy at this point. None of these eggs were protruding out of the surface of the mold, so I knew that when I filled it, we wouldn't get any lumps, bumps and unnecessary bits. Now, this is where I said I just want to fill those cavities and fill a bit more clear, because if I don't do this, the yellow resin is going to go down into those cavities and we're only going to see a tiny dot from each egg. Yeah, I didn't want to put too much in. Equally, I knew what I wanted, and that is why I've decided to go ahead and put another clear layer of resin down over the top. I'm really focusing right now on these gaps. There are some big gaps, and I want to fill those with epoxy resin so that the whole egg will be seen when we demold. But as it stands, I'm glad I didn't cut them in half first, because at this point I could see that more than half of the egg was in the mold. You know, if I cut them in half, it would have just, A, taken forever. B, it would have been so fiddly placing them down in the resin. C, they would have just been floating all over the place. And at this point, I just want to make sure that none of this clear epoxy resin comes up and over any of my cut lines, because that's when you'll see polystyrene. So here you can see a little puddle. There's a puddle right here of resin, and then further along I'll show you the resin is just coming up and over these, and I don't want that. So I do use a pipette and I take some resin out of the mold to reduce this, and you can see here now that the puddle has gone, and then just coming over here the resin is literally just kissing the edge of that cut, and that is what I want. Anything more than that and you're going to see polystyrene in the finished product. Okay, next day, finally. It feels like this took days to make, but totally worth it. It is time to fill the back, and I'm going for the same yellow again. I'm going to try my best to colour match it, but if it doesn't work out, that's all good as well. I'm just going to do my utmost to get the same gorgeous, softer yellow, almost buttery. There we go, guys. A soft butter yellow. That's what I'm going for. So again, I put the yellow pigment paste in, topped it up with some of the white, and you can just about see here the white starts to do its thing, and we get that gorgeous softer yellow coming through, and that's what we're going for. So making sure that I have mixed the pigments fully and totally into the resin to make sure that we're not going to get any random outbursts of bright yellow. I then start to pour. I don't know why I decided to pour like this. I think at the time it was just easier to make sure that it goes into every single crevice, every single nook and cranny. I thought for a second maybe I didn't have enough resin here, but it was fine. It was absolutely perfect. And again, might not be an exact colour match, but honestly you can barely tell the difference on Demold. And here it is, just spreading itself out. I was really happy at this point. I was so excited to see the finished results, and I couldn't have mixed up a more perfect batch, like as in weighed out. I didn't know how much I'd need, but it was absolutely spot on perfect. Very rare for me. Very rare. Now you can see some shadows of the eggs, but none of the eggs are protruding out of the surface, and this is what matters. This is the next day. Again, you can see the shadows of the eggs, but nothing was coming out of the surface. Now, this is a Druzy edge, so I am demolding very slowly, making sure that, you know, I'm not ripping any of that resin, any of the silicone mold, because again, Druzy is so intricate, so detailed. You want to really treat it with the utmost respect when you are demolding. And oh my goodness, guys, Are you ready? Because this was me getting excited because I'd already caught a glimpse of it. This is absolutely everything I wanted it to be. It is an extravaganza. It is the most egg meets chick tray ever. ever. And that Druzy edge, stop it now. It is about as crystally, sparkly cut glass as you could ever get. And I haven't even used a transparent resin. I've used a block opaque, bright yellow, buttery yellow, and it is shining. As you would expect, a Druzy edge cut glass effect to shine. It is reflecting all of the light. It looks like a whole edge of diamonds. Just stunning. The eggs are crazy. The eggs are wild. It was at this point I asked my patrons over on Patreon whether or not they would add anything to this tray, whether they would put like a vinyl cut cricket decal in the middle. 99.9% of my patrons said absolutely not. It's excellent. Stop it. It's just great as it is. And to leave it alone, don't touch it, don't put any vinyl on it. But let me know what you would do in the comment section down below. This is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I really love the result. It's so fun and bright and colourful. Thank you so much to Moulds and Shapes for sending this mould over to me. Remember, guys, this is part of a Moulds and Shapes marathon. There are so many videos from all of the Moulds and Shapes ambassadors, and I cannot wait to see what they have all done. All of the details for the Moulds and Shapes marathon collaboration will be in the description box below. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you feel inspired, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.